Hey, what's going on guys? Oscarmini here, and here's the all-new TECNO Camon 16 Premier, the predecessor to the Camon 15 Premier from earlier this year. There are a couple improvements from this device which I'll touch on in this video. Meanwhile, this is just my impressions video and not the full review, as I'd have that up on this channel after I've used this device extensively. And so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. Let's get to see what comes off the box with the TECNO Camon 16 Premier. The design on this box is actually familiar. This has the same design language as the Camon 15, in fact same color, the only difference being the size, which is slightly bigger. If you want me comparing these devices, let me know in the comment section below and I'll make a video on that too. On opening the box for the first time, you get to see the basic items such as the smartphone itself, obviously, the SIM ejector, paperwork and user guide, TPU case, a USB-C connector, an earpiece and a whopping 33 watts charger. The standard stuff. When it comes to the build quality, you are getting a plastic build from this large device. To the right of the smartphone are the volume rocker keys and the fingerprint sensor, which doubles as the power button also. The left side features the dual SIM tray with a dedicated micro SD card memory expansion slot. The bottom from left to right houses a 3.5mm jack port, the mouthpiece opening, USB Type-C port, and the down-firing speaker grills. It is quite unfortunate that we get a single down-firing speaker which can easily be blocked off while gaming or consuming media. Even though this actually gets the job done, we all would have preferred a stereo speaker, something we saw in the TECNO Povo 4 this year. Turning to the rear is a quad camera configuration in a rectangle, while there's a dual camera configuration at the front of this display, which I'll talk about later. And that's basically what the design and build feels like. One other thing you might want to know about the build on here would be the size. This is definitely not a one-handed device, it is actually huge, but a lot of people lately prefer such devices that give them great viewing experience in terms of the display, and that's what this smartphone tends to achieve. For what it is, I think it gets the job done. Let's talk about the display here. You're getting a 6.85-inch IPS LCD panel with an amazing 90Hz refresh rate. You also get a 180Hz touch sample rate on this display. The resolution you're getting here is Full HD, which is a welcome development, actually the same as the predecessor. Screen to body ratio here is a little over 88%, and this display is pretty much usable under the sun. With the 90Hz refresh rate on this smartphone, you get the best of the LCD world with smooth operations as far as the display goes, and games that can take advantage of this feature definitely would, giving you a better viewing experience. The downside to having the 90Hz feature always on is for the fact that it consumes more power. You can actually set the refresh rate from the settings to 60Hz, or even an auto adjust option that switches between 60 and 90Hz depending on the use case. I'd put this display through more tests in the full review though, so hit that subscribe button to stay notified when we publish that video. Now, in terms of the specifications, you're getting the almighty Helio G90T processor, coupled with an 8GB RAM and 128GB of internal storage. The RAM is actually massive for this device. This smartphone actually feels smooth to use. Operation is something anyone coming from a previous iteration of TECNO devices would love. You get Android 10 in terms of the OS, with HiOS, which is TECNO's skin on top of Android. There is still this bloatware you wish weren't here on HiOS. Battery so far from my test is amazing, as you get a 4500 mAh battery capacity. This takes the user to the end of the day on average use, and as far as charging goes, the 33 watt charger within the box juices the smartphone from 0 to 100 in a little over an hour. The rear cameras on the Camon 16 Premier are actually for a quad camera configuration, a 64 megapixel main lens, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel macro and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. You have a lot of options here. While the front facing camera features a 48 megapixel main lens and an 8 megapixel ultra wide. Now, I can't really show sample shots until the full review, as this is my impressions on an engineering sample, but so far the photos here are definite improvements too. So what are my thoughts on the Camon 16 Premier? This is a pretty decent smartphone with a lot of good stuff going on. USB-C on a TECNO device, 33 watt fast charger, and 90Hz refresh rates and all. I'll definitely let you guys know my overall thoughts on this smartphone after I must have used this device for 1 to 2 weeks. Kindly subscribe to this channel, leave your questions about this device in the comment section so I can answer them in the full review. Other than that, it's goodbye, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Koi that day.